Welcome to this video. My name is Alvin, aka the Theorist, and I've moved the camera so I can get better lighting. I'm learning about this process of putting my mug on the camera. Today the video is a little bit different. I will be running you through the way I search for pre-owned watches. I definitely spend too much time doing this, but I thought I would share it with you guys because some people have mentioned that they would like some pointers on how I find deals and where I look and how I compare, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna show you my screen and how I search for deals, how I compare against websites, and then try and find the best price. I'll put up a list of things to do and questions and things you can find for yourself online as well. I'm sure this has been covered before, but there's no harm in me going over it again and showing you what I do. Maybe there'll be something different that other people don't cover or don't do. I have bought watches. Obviously, I have around 50 watches, so I've bought a lot of them in the pre-owned market. Some of them have been premium luxury watches, and so I think that's a space where people do start to get uncomfortable. I have bought a lot of my premium watches and all sorts from 50 quid up to 5 grand in the pre-owned market. So I've covered a fair bit of ground, which is bad, but it's also good. And I hope that it can help some of you guys when you're navigating this space as well. I guess I didn't really think about this previously because I've been so used to doing it, but I didn't really clock that people sometimes might stay away from the higher end of the pre-owned market because they're a bit unsure about sellers, or they're a bit unsure about the quality of a piece or authenticity, private sellers, that kind of thing. And that's something that I am still, it's a case by case basis, as we say at work. You've got to take each seller for their merits, especially when it comes to private sellers. So I won't touch on private sellers too much, but I will have a list of questions to ask and resources you can use, which are pretty obvious to most people, but they won't be to others. As I learn, we've got a good range of viewers, from real newbies to veteran vintage heads. So it's really nice to hear comments and things from people, so let me know what you think always. And if you have any tips as well, stick them in the comments below. Let's get into it. Well then, here we are. We're about to get started to see exactly how I waste time, money, brain cells, and other things on the internet, searching for timepieces, etc. But on the bright side, on a good note, I do it to save money. I'm not wasting as much as I might. I have chosen a watch. It is a Tudor we're going to look at first. We're going to have a look at the retail price and the retail page and keep it up and make sure we've got all the particulars. What we're looking for is deals. We're looking for pre-owned deals. So 5380. I would aim for under 3 grand on this, knowing what's out there and the way Tudors behave in the pre-owned market. I've done a bit of pre-search. So the price RRP is 5380. I think you can find it just under 5 on the grey market and whatnot. But my aim today is to find this for under 3 grand. Or if I was looking to buy, which, you know, I have been for a while, I'm not sure if I want this particular watch, but it is a nice introduction to gold and silver. I like Tudors, I like the Black Bay, but that is too much. However, it has got the real gold on the bracelet, which is something I think Longines should have done with their latest copper gold Henry Cavill piece. Anyway, let's get on with it. We're going to copy and paste this first. The best way to do it on Chrono 24 is to click there and then click there. So obviously I'm in the UK. I've got 73 listings on Chrono 24 worldwide. I'm going to filter to high. Obviously, most people know this, but I've got to talk through it, haven't I? I can't just get on with doing it and put some background music on. I suppose I could. But so Japan and Hong Kong generally have the best prices overall, but obviously we need to get those imported. So you have to consider that. Often Japanese pieces aren't in the best condition, but they do have a lot of stock. But they are reasonably honest about the condition, and the pictures are good. So this one's without the bracelet. It's not one we're interested in, but the price is really good. So here's one, good condition, original box, original papers. You can see a dent there, or something has gone wrong. So yeah, there is damage there. Obviously gold is a soft metal, so you have to take a bit more care with it. And this is going to be a little bit fragile just by the way it is structured. So there's something to take into consideration. I guess these are kind of dive watches, they're tool watches, so they might take a bit more damage than a dress watch in terms of everyday wear. If I was to look to ship from Japan or Hong Kong, we're looking for free shipping, and then we're looking for the price, and we are going to look for places that accept suggestions, because often Japanese do not. Japanese sites, companies, the prices are pretty good as they are. They don't accept offers. So we're going to look, I don't like this one with the gold dial. I just like the black chilled out one. So here's another one in Japan. Very good, box and papers. And 2,360 plus shipping makes it 2,490. Okay, we're going to narrow it down to the UK only just to give us a more compact pool of watches, and then low to high. You can see straight away that the prices are a bit higher. This one looks half decent, but it's a private seller. So pros and cons, obviously, private seller, you don't have the protection that you do if you buy from a shop. This one's in pretty bad condition, but they've been honest about it. The price is still too high though. And not only that, look at that. That is a ding. Full set, bezel just above 4. You can see where I have bumped the outer bezel. That should be £880, not. It's a write-off, that is. If it was a car, it would be a write-off. Yeah, because getting that fixed would cost a shitload. I don't know how much, but yeah, it's a shame. This guy is not going to sell this watch. But let's have a look here. We have DK watches, a good price. Like I was saying, under £3,000. And it looks like it's in good condition. So obviously the basics are the basics. Get your magnifier on, have a good look. If there aren't many photos, ask for some more. Ask the questions. Search Google for the model. And often the best places to ask these kind of questions are Reddit and WatchCrunch as well. There are loads of people on there, and they're always happy to help. There's always cool stuff on these. You can spend hours on these alone, but 3.1 million members is pretty nuts. So there you go. You'll find loads of information. Obviously, you're looking to spend money, and generally we want the best deal, and we want reliable watches, and we want to know what we're doing when we buy, so you should put in a good amount of research. WatchCrunch as well. Let's just go with, oh, fantastic. There's nothing, oh, there we go. If you find somebody who owns one, the joy of WatchCrunch and whatnot is you can just reach out and ask. Obviously this watch is a little bit rare, so that's another obstacle you have to negotiate depending on which watch you're looking for. But there's so many people with, okay, I would love to get one of these. I think it's cool AF. £16,000 brand new. I found one for £7,000, which makes it a hell of a value proposition, but you'll never be able to sell it, fortunately. Anyway, back to, so 28950. I'm going to put this back into Google without the reliable, and then you can have a look at what comes up here, because often that's a good pointer, and it will search eBay for you as well and bring up things. Mappin and Web Refurbished is pretty good. You'll get a warranty from them. They'll give you plenty of good photos as well. I think it's the same group as Goldsmiths and Watches of Switzerland, maybe. But yeah, like I said, great photos. I must say it is a shame that this watch has this bracelet, but it is quite a chunky beast, so I suppose it fits with the design language. 3,195 for a refurbished watch from these guys, and box of papers, and 1 year left on the warranty. Tudor's warranty is really good. Obviously, the longer, the older the watch is, then the more concerns there are. So where were we? We were going to look here as well, eBay. So UK only. Ooh, it's that new Blue Lagoon thing again. Don't love it. I don't love it even more seeing it there. So here we have, but it is without a bracelet, so we must return. That's that same watch, I believe. Oh no, this is a different one. Oh no, is it the same one? Hold on. Yeah, it's the same ones here. So DK watches, 2,895. It's important that you make a note of the seller. There we have a coupon code, which is pretty cool, depending on how much the watch is in the first place, but knocking 75 quid off is always welcome. Sometimes they have more photos here than the other place, so it's good to check that out as well. We've got cards, UK bought. It's very good. So here's a little trick. It's pretty obvious, but often the sellers on Chrono24 and eBay are exclusive to those sites. They're third-party sellers. They don't want to bother with having their own website. But as we know, these sites charge fees to sell. So often it's in the best interest of these companies to have a website in which they can have a bit more control of what they're charging. So they do have a website, and I have checked it out before just to prove that I was right before checking that this method is correct and worth a shot. It's pretty obvious, but sometimes you might not find the company on the first page of Google when you search for the watch. So it's not immediately apparent that they have their own website, and sometimes they don't include their links on eBay and whatnot. So here we're looking, did I get past it? We're looking, okay, we're going to search two-door, there it is. It's our two-door, and we have a winner of a price, $2,675. So that is just a quick look at how to find a good deal. So these guys have great photos as well, to be fair. This one's in really good condition, and it has got some papers, and it's a reputable seller by the look of things. Obviously, you're supposed to check their reviews and all of that. I'm going to check 100% positive. 1,204. So, you know, you can trust these guys. You do obviously get extra protection. You get the authenticity guarantee when you buy from here, and you can pay for it when you, oh, actually it's included here. That's good too. But if you buy from their website, wherever that's gone, lost it. Anybody? You'll save a lot of money, and you're protected obviously by, in the UK anyway, by trading standards and whatnot. In addition, if you buy in a credit card, I would always recommend that. One that you pay off straight away, not one that you pay off at 25% interest for 700 years. But yeah, for my protection, I almost always buy expensive things on a credit card and then pay that off straight away. Sometimes not straight away, but yeah, mostly. It is a good deal, because if you go back to the Japanese watches, the Japanese prices that we were looking at, then when you add the 20% of tax, if we just say that's 22, and then 20% is 440, which makes it 2,640 plus that 50 quid, and that's nearly £2,700 for a not as good watch. So in poor condition, basically. So what we're saying is that that is a really good deal on a global level, not just on a local level, obviously depending on what the import taxes are where you're from. I know everybody won't like this watch, but I thought it was a good example. Another thing I wanted to point out, this is a great resource. Whatever you think about AI, ChatGPT and some of the others, Grok, are quite good at helping with research. So say you're on eBay and you found a watch and you weren't sure about it. It's Cartier. This is a true example, actually. It was a Cartier Tank Anglaise. I can't find it, actually. It might have sold. But it was under £1,000, and I thought, obviously, that's a bit dodgy. But what made me a bit suspicious was that it had a seconds hand. It was a quartz, and often those watches, they don't have seconds hands. Obviously, that's an informed observation, but you can ask any questions to get there yourself via ChatGPT, but you need to ask the right questions, obviously, because sometimes it just doesn't know what you're asking, so it gives you the wrong answer. Often it can give you the wrong answer anyway, so you should be doing your own research, as always. I mean, your own fact-checking. Ask it for sources as well when you're searching, so you know where it's got its information from. In this case, I asked, did Cartier ever make quartz-powered tank Americain, or was it Vermeil, which is silver, with a seconds hand? So Cartier did not produce a tank Americain Vermeil model with quartz movement in a second hand. So it confirmed what I thought, and then I went and found a few other versions of a similar model, and they didn't have seconds hand. So this one might be a Frankenstein or something like that. You know, some of them might have, but this one, particularly the ones that I could find that would closely match it, didn't have a seconds hand. So it says possible aftermarket modification, misidentified model. Yeah, I could be wrong. It could be genuine, you know. It could just be a bargain because it was in terrible condition, or it's stolen or something like that. Generally, when the price is so low, you're going to be suspicious. But it could just be somebody needs some money fast. So yeah, you know, it's a risk regardless. But ChatGPT is a very good resource. Actually, one I missed out was Subdial, which is a really good resource. Some real good deals. I bought one watch from Subdial. They allow offers, which is pretty cool. Yeah, Black Bay 68. They always have a real cool selection of watches and things that you don't often find, like Oyster Prince date, great price, vintage, and they're reliable. That's the other thing, that you can count on these guys to have checked the watch out and made sure everything is in order, which is your authenticity guarantee. Ooh, cool. Jeez, look at the price of that.
But yeah, that's what I mean. They do have some cool watches. Hang that one, Platinum Jubilee. Well, I am digressing while I just turn into a browser in general and forget that I'm making a video. They haven't got the steel and gold, but they've got the steel and gold chronograph, which is a decent price. The good thing about these, like I said, is that they do allow offers. And you can ask questions. Their photos are always pretty good. Oh yeah, that is a nice dial. I wish the bracelet was the steel and gold as well. That would have been a banger. I don't think the Jubilee suits it, fortunately, with that. However, these guys will. There you go. There's the offer. Inquire offer. Name. Type your message here, and they'll also. Oh, you need to sign in. But what they do is similar to Chrono24, is that they will tell you whether your offer is likely to be accepted. Let's see if we can pull one up here. Japan. Not okay. Okay, suggest price. Oh dear, my address is there. I'll blur that out. But when you put in your silly offer, oh, that's more than, so it will say plus 80%, but really you want to go lowball, and it will say unlikely to be accepted. But as you get a bit closer, oh, that's not close enough. I think I took this a bit, but may not be accepted. Obviously, if it's £10 less than, it is likely to be accepted. But we like to try it on a little bit, and it's almost always worth a cheeky offer, but not too cheeky. There's all my addresses there. Should not have scrolled. Security alert. Error. Let's get out of here before I buy it by accident. Another obvious thing that I forgot to say is to check the reviews. So we have a seller here. Click. And then here's your reviews. And I wish you could filter a little bit more. You can filter by stars here. And if you click in on the company, you can click on reviews there, and you get a display with comments. I always look for UK reviews just to see, make sure there's no issues a bit closer to home. But generally, it's good to have a good look at recent reviews and see what's been going on. These guys seem to be very good at what they do. And then again, you can search on Google as well. European jewelry, Abu Dhabi, it's these lot. Do they have a website? Yes, they do, which is comforting, etc. Might not actually. Sometimes they might not sell on their websites because they use Chrono24 or eBay, or whatever, which is fine. It is just good to do as much research and get to know the companies. Sometimes you will find a company on eBay or on Chrono24 and they have no other online presence. And if they have no reviews or few reviews, then it is a risk you're taking. But if they've got plenty of reviews on eBay, 100% feedback, etc., and Chrono24, then have at it. So yeah, this is one of those where they don't sell on the website, but they have got more pictures. Or you can inquire by Instagram, etc. Or here. So yeah, cool.
Right, so hopefully that was helpful. And there was a tip or two in there that you can use when you're searching for watches. I've got a few more things to cover, and then we'll wrap it up. So we'll just recap over those things. Like the main one for me is cross-referencing different websites to find the deal. Because if you find a watch somewhere, it might be for sale elsewhere for a better price, and that can go both ways in terms of the website, like I showed, might have a better price than eBay or Chrono24. But on the flip side, I bought a Seiko once from Watch Nation, and their website doesn't allow offers, but their eBay page did allow offers, so I managed to get a discount. So you've got to really flip side it, double check, go here, go there, go everywhere for the best deal. And the reason we go everywhere to get a good deal is because then we can justify buying more watches, and that is important. And that is what you're here for. You're here for that permission, and I give you permission as long as you find a good deal. So I mentioned Reddit and WatchCrunch. Those are two really good sources, but obviously there are so many forums, so many communities on social media and elsewhere. You'll find the information you're looking for. You can even find watches for sale, obviously, on some of these sites. You've got to be careful with private sellers, obviously, but it comes down to reviews and feedback and things, and that's something you've got to do your own due diligence on and just be sensible about it. I try and stay away from private sellers, to be honest, just because it can be tricky, obviously. But if you do find a deal with a private seller, you've got to ask a lot of questions, get photos, And if you can, search the internet for that person. If you can find their handle on eBay, maybe it's the same as the one they use elsewhere. If you search it in Google, you might be able to find it, which will give you some more comfort, or it could give you less comfort. Hopefully it's more. But on that side, I bought a Cartier from Singapore from a private seller. So not a cheap watch, but the escrow system of Chrono24 does provide me some comfort in that they don't release the funds to the seller until the buyer is happy. So that does provide some protection, but it can be a real kerfuffle if it goes wrong. So you've got to make sure you do all that work up front to avoid any issues. Most people on there are genuine, and private sellers are a great way to get a good deal, because often watches stay on there for a while because people aren't comfortable buying from private sellers. Then you've got the advantage if you can get comfortable with it. I mentioned ChatGPT as well. ChatGPT is a really good resource for research. Just make sure you're asking it for sources, asking it where it's getting its information from, and cross-reference with other sources online. Don't just rely entirely on the AI, because they're out to get us. They'll take over eventually. Take my word for it. Subdial. So I mentioned Subdial. I think they're one of the best platforms out there, not only for value, they do great deals, but their whole vibe on elevating the pre-owned market and the watch scene is really good. I bought a Longines from Subdial, but it was through eBay before they were accepting offers on the website. So I got a really good deal, and their packaging and service and the things they provide, I can't remember exactly what they provided in the box, but it was just nice touches and a real professional and solid service is what. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but just if you've got an eBay seller, check their feedback and make sure that they haven't got 1,000 positive reviews, with 999 of them being for socks and only one being a watch. Just keep an eye on what they're selling. If they're a shop, that is. If they're a private seller, you can check to see if they've sold a whole bunch of watches. And then if they've got feedback on selling watches, even as a private seller, then it just gives you a bit of extra comfort as well. Same with Chrono24, like I did. Check reviews. Get as much information as you can to make yourself comfortable with buying. I mentioned about Chrono24 and eBay. Sometimes the sellers don't have any online presence. So some of these places in Hong Kong, they only exist on Chrono24 as a shop. And then it's very difficult. I've done a fair bit of research and tried to find further information to make myself comfortable on some of these sellers that don't have a lot of feedback. Some of them have loads, hundreds. So even if they've got no presence elsewhere, then you're comfortable with that pretty much. But if they've got very few reviews and don't have any other online presence, then it is a bit shifty just in terms of comfort. Something to keep an eye on. Well, that's it for this one. I've waffled far too long. Hopefully there's some helpful stuff in there. And if you have any tips, any tricks, or even any sellers that you go to repeatedly for their pre-owned deals, drop it in the comments and let us know, because we're a community and we want to encourage each other to keep buying watches and buy lots and lots of watches. So drop a like, subscribe, support the channel, support each other, and I will see you on the next one. Have a good one.